Hello guys, my name is Evans and welcome to this continuation of the February-March 2018 IGCSE ICT Paper 3-1. In the last video we ended with step number 11 and now we start looking at step number 12. So if a wall is single skin and a wall by single skin, they mean only one brick thick, okay, and longer than 1.2 meters and higher than 0.25 meters, it needs supporting with piers. Okay, so so this is very important. This is where the English comes in, guys. Okay, so we're told that if the wall is single skin and single skin, that means that if we select here thickness of wall, single skin or double skin. So if we say if a wall is single skin, either capital S or small letter S, if a wall is single skin, what does that mean? And also, the wall is it's single skin, and so take notice of the use of the Boolean operators here. You have got and you've got and. Okay, so that is very important. Okay, so all this must be true. Okay, so the wall must be single skin. It must be more than 1.2 meters long, and it must be more than 0.725 meters high. Okay, and then it needs supporting with piers. So what's supposed to happen is enter a formula in cell B20 to display the word yes if the wall needs piers, and no if the wall does not need piers. So if any of these values is false, then the walls doesn't need to have piers. Now you can use if statements, but it's going to be a long one. Okay, you can use if statements, but it will be a long one. Why? Because you have if the first part is not, then if the second part is not, then if the third part, and then the other part is just going to be the null part. So you have three if statements, and that kind of makes the whole formula cumbersome. Okay, but you can have you can use the Boolean operator in Excel called and. Okay, so you can use or, you can use and. So let me just put where the formula is supposed to go. It's supposed to go in B20. So in B20, which is here, you can start equal to and, okay, and the formula like that. So then you have got logical test 1. So we want to test if this one is S, okay, if the thickness of the wall is S. So the thickness is this one, B5, if equal to S. Now notice that B5 equal to S, we have got two S there. We've got one S which is small letter and lowercase, and one case which is uppercase, and we need to account for both of them. So you cannot say if B5 equal to uppercase that or B5 whatever. That is not going to work out. Okay, so what do? You need to put to convert everything that is there in B5. We're going to convert it to upper. Okay, if upper B5 equal to S, like that. Okay, notice what I've done here, guys. Let me just do this. This is very important, guys. Notice what I've done. I've added upper. Okay, so if upper B5, in other words, whatever is found here, whether it's small letter or lowercase or uppercase, convert it to uppercase, okay, and compare it to an uppercase S, okay, compared to an uppercase S. So suppose somebody enters small letter S, it will be converted to uppercase so that it can be matched with this one, okay. So that's very important. So if this is true, then a logical test again, we need to find out the next thing that should happen. If it is longer than, if the wall is longer than 1.2 meters long, okay, wall is longer than 1.2 meters. So length of wall, then this one greater than 1.2, comma, okay, logical test 3, and you can have as many logical tests as possible, but the AND will make sure that all those logical tests, they evaluate to true before it can return a true value. Otherwise, if one of them misses or evaluates to false, then the rest of the formula will evaluate to false. So the third logical test is supposed to be higher than 0.725. So higher than 0.725. So if the height, so which is this one, is greater than 0.725. Okay. So if this is the case, close it. Okay. Now we are done with this part. This part is just going to evaluate to true or false. Okay. Now, if you hit enter key, and I'm going to hit enter key just in a moment, and let's see what will happen. So notice that it says false. If I put S there and I put length of wall is 5 and height of wall is 2, notice that it says true. So this formula is actually just returning true or false. But this is not, this is incomplete, so to say. We are supposed to return yes or return no. Okay, so if this is true, then we should return yes. If it is not true, then we should return false. So again, you can use the formula here. So let's see, where are we? Okay. Okay, let me try out something. So if this one evaluates to true, and the value of true is yes, and the value if false, it's supposed to be no, and then close that. So you have this. So the first one evaluates to no, and then there's a 5 and there's a 4 and evaluates to yes. Okay, so notice the formula the way I've written it, guys. First of all, I started with the inside part. Okay, so let me just do this with the inside part, okay, to find out if all the 3 conditions evaluate to yes or no. Okay, and then I use the if statement. If whatever the AND operator returns, or the AND Boolean return, whether it's true or false, I check. If it's true, then it's yes. If it's false, then it's no. Okay, so if and everything, now we're using and because we want all of the 3 conditions to be true at the same time, because and for you guys who do computer science, you notice that this is easy, because for every input you supply to and, you both of them must be true for the output to be true. If one of them is false, then the output is false. Okay. So guys, you can play back the video if you do not understand what I'm talking about. Watch over it over and over. You can even comment out, and I may try to just explain something. Okay, so so that is done. If piers are needed, they should be placed at each end of the wall, every 1.2 meters along the wall. Okay, so at each end of the wall, so suppose you have got a wall like this. Let me just do this. Let's say this is my wall. Boom, boom, boom. This is my wall. I don't have to draw it nicely, guys. Okay, so let's say this. Oh, I want a highlighter. Let's say this is my wall and it's a yellow wall. Wow. Okay, suppose this is my wall. if piers are needed, we're told that we should place one at each end. So let's say this will be my pier, and I'll make it like, let me put a different color. I'll put it there. So we have one at each end. So we have got one here, and we'll have one there. Okay, so they should be placed at each end of the wall and every 1.2 meters along the wall. So for every 1.2 meters from the beginning of the wall there up to there, if there is need for a pier, then I will place one right there. Again, 1.2 meters. If this is 1.2 meters, if there is another need for another pier, then I will place it right there. So that is that. So that's what the question is actually telling you. So it says now, enter a formula in cell B21 to calculate the number of piers that are needed for the wall. Okay, so automatically I know that the first thing that I need, if at all I need piers, the first thing is that I'll have two of them first. Why two? Because I need one at each end. One at each end. So I have two, one at each end, and then the plus. The next one is conditional. It depends if the wall is 1.2 meters long. Okay, so that is very important, guys. The first one, first of all, is that you've got a definite one, which is the fact that if the piers are needed, then it should be true. So again, you need to test for this part which says yes, that you need piers. So you check if it is equal to yes. If it is equal to yes, then you add 2 plus, okay, and then you now have a condition, okay, to check if at all it is 1.2. The length of the wall is 1.2 meters. Okay. So again, the other thing is that if suppose this is I have 1, 2, 3 of them, I need to find out if the wall is 6 meters long. I'll divide it by 1.2 to find out how many piers are there every after 1.2. Okay, so for example, if this is if this wall is 6 centimeters or 6 meters like that, I will need to break it into portions, like find out how many. So divide, this is 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, and so on and so forth. So I'll divide 6 divided by 1.2 to find out how many of these are, and then I'll get the integer value of those. Okay, so some of this stuff is difficult when you're talking unless you get to work. So let's get to work and see what we can do. So in cell B21, first of all, we need to find out if piers are needed. So B21 is here. So piers are needed is this one. So if equal to if, okay, if this equal to yes, which means piers are needed. Okay, so just put in quotes. If this is equal to yes, then piers are needed. So then the true part is that we should add 2, not space, we should add 2 plus. Okay, so why 2 plus? Because at each end we have a pier. So we have plus, and then we'll get the value of the length of the wall, which is this one. The length of the wall, B7, divided by 1.2. Okay, and this will give us how many piers are needed for each thing. So again, here you're going to remember, this is going to give you a decimal number. Not always, but sometimes it will give you a decimal number depending on the length of the wall. So you want to make sure that you get the positive value or the integer value or the rounded value, okay, like that. Okay, so if piers are needed, then it is 2 plus int B7 divided by 1.2. If they are not needed, then you can just say put 0. That's fine if you put 0, because number of piers needed equal to 0. If you want, you can leave it with empty quotes, but in case there are mathematical operations that we need to carry on later on, then 0 is better than putting empty quotes. So just do that. And here it tells us that we need 5 pies. So let's test it. If I have a wall which is 1.2 meters long, I don't need any pi, do I? Okay, so does it require pies? You say no, because here it doesn't require pies. But let's say if I have a wall which is 1.5 meters long, does it require pies? Yes. How many? 3. How? Because for the two ends of the 1.5 meter wall, so let's say if this is the wall, and it is the length is 1.5 meters from there to there, 1.5 meters. We are told that we need to have a pi here at each end. So we have 1, then we have 2, and then we have 1, then we have 2, and then we have for every after 1.2 meters. So here, if this is 1.2 meters, so we are going to have another one here. Okay, so you have how many? 3. So this one is less than 1.2. What it means here, this is less than 1.2. So we won't need, because it's for every 1.2 meters. So what happens here is that you have 1, then you have 2, and you've got 3. And this is what you have. So if you have got a wall which is, let's say, 3 meters long, so you have got 1.2, you have another 1.2, which gives you 2.4, and 3 meters minus 2.4, that gives you about 0.6 meters. And so you're going to need, inside you need 2, and then outside 2, and if you total them, you have 4. So if you check this, if you change this, that you have got a length of wall which is 3 meters long, so you should have 4 here. Okay, so guys, that's important. Hope that explains it very well. And we've entered the formula here to calculate the number of pies needed for the wall. And a course is a single layer of bricks, and a wall is built with many courses. Okay, so a course is a single layer of bricks. Okay, a wall is built with many courses. So in other words, you can have one layer, you build on top of it, you have another layer, build on top of it, another layer, just like that. Just some way that people build wall fences. Okay. So step 14 says enter a formula in cell B22 to calculate the number of bricks per course. Okay, then in B22 to calculate the number of bricks in each course. Okay, so for a course which is maybe one layer, we want to find how many bricks went into that layer. Okay, and so this how this one is found. This is the length of the wall divided by 0.225. So length of the wall, which is this one, so number of bricks per course equal to length of wall, which is this one, divided by 0.225. Okay, now notice that this one is going to give you a fraction. Okay, so if it's a fraction, then you need to round up. Okay, you need to round up or to round the nearest value. Why not round down or round? Because if you round down, it will give you 13. And 13, that means you are short, you're less of the number of bricks. You'd rather have excess bricks and meet the deadline, not the deadline, and meet the quantity on demand than to have something that is lower. So here you're going to round up. Okay, round up this so that we're going to round it up to 0 digits, and that should be that. So notice that it gives you 14 as number of bricks as opposed to 13 if you had used round or round down. Okay, so the next one is supposed to be enter formula in B23 to calculate the number of courses. And so in B23 to calculate the number of courses, and this is the height of the wall divided by 0.06. Okay, so the height of the wall, so equal to the height of the wall, which is this one, divided by 0.066. Okay, so just check that you have the right value for division. Okay, 0.066. Again, this is going to give you a fraction, so again you're going to use round up. okay, so that you'd rather have excess than to have a shortage. Okay, so to 0 decimal places or 0 digits. Okay, so that's fine. Next, using these statements, enter a formula in cell B24 to calculate the number of bricks you will need to buy. Okay, so the number of bricks for a single skin wall is the number of bricks per course multiplied by the number of courses. Okay, so for a single wall, for a single skin wall, the number of bricks that are required is the number of bricks per course, okay, multiplied by the number of courses. This is common sense, guys. If per course I'm taking 50 bricks and I've got 5 courses, how many bricks am I using? Okay, for a single skin, it's just to simply multiply the number of bricks in each course multiplied by how many courses I have. Okay, now that's one information. The next piece of information we have is this one. Twice as many bricks are needed for a double skin wall. So which means if the user selects double skin, which means we need twice as many bricks. So if it's 50 by 30, then times 2 at the end. For both double skin and single skin walls, an extra 10% is always added, as some bricks will be damaged. Okay, so this is a contingency factor. They will add extra 10% of the bricks that you have. Now 10%, guys, this is very mathematical. 10% more, which means it's 110. Agree? 10% more means 110, and 10% less, that means that you have 90% of the whole thing. Okay, so if you say that you got 10% less in the exam, that means you got 90%. And now there's no such thing as getting 10% more in the exam, where you get 110%. Okay, so what this means is that of the whole thing that you have, you're going to add 10% of that. So that gives you 100. And the formula is actually pretty simple, guys. You simply just have. I wish I had my whiteboard marker here, or my interactive board for me to write. So it's 10%, and let's say 10. I'm using a mouse, don't worry. So it's 100 plus, okay, 100 plus 10, okay, over 100. Okay, so that's what this 10% more means. So that gives you something like 1.1. Okay, something gives you like 1 point. So this is the factor. If you multiply it to any value, it's as good as adding 10% to that value. Guys, this is very important, guys. Your mathematics, if it's not good and you can't understand this concept that I've used here, it will really just be difficult for you to understand what I'm trying to say here. So this is 100%. Notice this is maybe let me try to simplify it for you. Say 100%, right? And you want to add 100% plus 10%. Okay, why 100%? Because initially the whole thing is 100%, and out of that 100%, we want a 10% of it and add it on top of the 100%, so that it evaluates back. It gives you back to this same thing. It is 100% is equal to 100 divided by 100 and plus 10%, which is 10 over 100. And you've come out with common denominator is 100, and on top the values will add to 100 plus 10. Okay, so that's it, guys. Let me not waste so much time here because this video otherwise will be too long. So that is what that is. So if piles are used, extra bricks are needed. Okay, so this is calculated by adding the number of courses. Okay, number of courses multiplied by the number of piles. Okay. So again, this is very important. If we need piles, then if we use the piles, then we need to use extra bricks, okay, to build the piles. So we need to add the number of courses that we have multiplied by the number of piles we demand the number of pies that we need. Okay. So cracking down such a question as this one really may prove to be a challenge for many students. But what's important is that you need to find a way of working around this, guys. I mean, just think through what is required. Okay, so the question tells us, so in cell B24, and B24, which is this one here, we are going to add formula there. So the first thing that I want to talk about, I'll start with this part here, where we're told that whether it's double skin or single skin, we are going to add an extra 10%. So to add an extra 10%, you simply multiply the factor that you had equal to 1.1, the factor multiplied by the whole thing now. Okay, the whole thing. Okay, so now what is the whole thing? So let's eliminate this one. We're done with this one. Let's eliminate this one. Okay, so now we can come back here. We check if we need if it's a single skin. Okay, so we check if it's a single skin, then we do something. Also, we check if it's a double skin, then we do something. Okay, if it's not a single skin, rather definitely it's a double skin. So you come here, multiply by, and then you have if, and then the logical test also, we need to test if it's a single skin. So if B5 is equal to S, which is single skin, but notice B5, we have S upper and S lowercase. So I'll convert everything to upper. You can convert everything to lower if you want. That's still fine, as long as you change what's in the quotes to small letter s. So if upper B5 equal to S, which is if this is single skin, if it is true, then there's something that we are doing. If it is true, then you multiply. So the number of bricks for a single skin wall is the number of bricks per course, multiplied by the number of courses. So number of bricks per course, which is this one. So then it is this one multiplied by the number of courses, which is this one. Okay. Now that is the next thing is to test. Okay. It's to test. Okay, so if it is not needed, let's come here. So we are done with this one. Okay, we're done with this one. But we are told about this one. It says twice as many bricks are needed for a double skin wall. So for a double skin wall, twice as many bricks are needed. So if it is not S, if this part evaluates to false, which means it is not S, whether small letter s or uppercase S, if it is not, then it must be double. So we simply, it's twice as many. So it's just as good as getting this value here, paste it there, and multiply it by 2. It's twice as many. Okay, and then we have the last part here. If pies are needed, extra bricks are needed. If pies are used, rather, extra bricks are needed. How is this calculated? This is calculated by adding the number of courses multiplied by the pies, the number of pies. And this is going to be that. So we only need pies if it is a single skin wall. That's when we need pies. So in our ways, pies are going to be added only when this part is true. If this part is true, which means around here, this is the part which is true. That's why it says value if true. So value if true, then we're going to add some pies. So I mean some value here. So plus, and then what do we add? We add the number of courses, multiplied by the number of pies. So here, number of courses, which is this one, multiplied by number of pies. That one, B21. And that should do it. That should do it. But notice also that we are calculating how many bricks that we're going to need. So if you hit enter key, I didn't close the bracket, so just accept to close for you. Notice that you have a fraction, and like I said, you cannot round down this one, okay? You'd rather round it up. Why? Because you'd rather have more bricks than having a shortage. So you put everything in round up function, not in a round, but in a round up function, and you're going to put 0 and put close bracket and hit enter key. And notice that you have now the number of bricks that are required there. Now, this is very important, guys. So we are almost done with this one. Let me just finish it, and then we can move on to the web authoring section. But let me just finish this one. The video may be a little bit longer, but let me just finish it so that we don't waste so much time and to start in another video. Okay. So that is that, guys. And if you have any question about this question, please feel free to ask. But you can always go and play back the video and watch over, and it will make more sense. Okay, so step number 17 says enter a formula in cell B25 to calculate the number of packs of bricks that must be bought. Okay, so enter a formula in cell B25 to calculate the number of packs. Okay, number of packs of bricks that must be bought, and you can only buy bricks in packs of in 4 packs of 390. Okay, so again, this is very simple, guys. Okay, so in cell B25, okay, so in B25 we have got these bricks ahead. So we need to buy 1,208 bricks, and we need to buy in a pack of 390. So how many packs do we have there? That's the question. In 1,208, how many packs do we have? Okay, if each pack is 390 bricks. So this is equal to, get this one divided by 390. And again, if this is going to be some decimal value of some kind, then you are going to round up. And you have no question on the number of bricks. You're going to round up, not round down. So round up again, because you'd rather have more than to have a shortage. Okay, you civil engineers. Okay, so when you plan, instead of having 3, you need to add the contingency, and you have 4. Okay. Now that is done. Step 18, enter a formula in cell B26 to calculate the cost of buying the bricks using the data from this file. Okay, so in B26, we want to find the cost of buying the bricks using the data from that. So again, if you notice, this information, the information is in itself, like I said, you could have sorted it, arranged it in some sort of order of some kind if you want. And so the cost is here, and what is unique is actually that each of these pack is has about 390 bricks, but the type of bricks has different costs. Okay, so depending on the type of the brick that you want, you can retrieve the cost and then multiply by the number of packs that you have for each of those. So for example, I need 4 packs for this type of bricks that I have. So for a single skin, I need 4 packs for this one. So I will use so cost of bricks. So I will need to have a value to retrieve. So I have VLOOKUP to retrieve the price. So it is the price. So I have the code of the brick, which is B9, and then comma, the table array, which is from here to there. Okay, and then I have the column index. I want to return the cost, which is the last column. So it is column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm returning column 6, and I want to return the exact value and not the approximate value. The exact value, because it's an exact cost. And notice that now if I put G here, I return 540. But 540 is just for one pack. Now I have 4 packs. I have 4 packs. So I need to modify my formula to accommodate 4 packs. So I'll have 4 multiplied by the value that is retrieved. And that will be the value that I have there. Okay. So that is for this one, guys. And now we're going to apply appropriate formatting to the cells. And we're going to apply the formatting. And usually this is just to do with the currency, or rather the value, the amount of money. So here you just put here this format it as currency, and you're going to format it as the pound. Okay, so look for the pound symbol, correct to 2 decimal places. Okay, so that should be fine, and that should be perfectly fine. Okay, formatted to currency to 2 decimal places. Okay, so and then also concrete for the footing will cost again. So let's see. So this is also money. So this needs to be formatted as currency as well. So the other thing that you can do is just copy this, use the format painter, and just paint it like that, and you have the value formatted. You don't need to go there, click there. Just format it as a particular cell to inherit the properties of the other cell. Okay, so so now step 20. Now we are almost winding up. So save the file and print on a cell A1 to C26 of the spreadsheet. A1 to C26 of the spreadsheet showing the formula. So you can go to formulas and show the formula, and what you're printing is actually A1 to C26. You can just type it out there, hit enter key, and it will select those cells that are in question. Double click on the value on the borders for the table just to enlarge the tables nicely, and then go to page layout, and then print area and set print area. So now you can go to print, and then this is the area that you're printing. Now the other thing that you need to do is to look at some of the things that have been asked in the question. Make sure that it is in landscape orientation, so go ahead and change it to landscape orientation, and then also make sure that the rows and column headings are displayed. So here, and sheet and grid lines and column headings, just make sure that they are displayed. And the next thing that you're told is that the contents of the cells must be fully visible. The contents of the cell must be fully visible. So the contents of the cell must be fully visible. Now, the other thing that you notice is that you have got multiple pages here. You've got 2 pages actually. So what you can do is that you can try to see if you shrink this, if it will fit, if you scale it to fit all the columns on one page, notice that it will fit there. So that looks good. If I want, I can even reduce my margins so that it is a bit large, since I'm not told to do that. But if I print out this, sure, this is typical size of an A4 paper. It is visible. Otherwise, I could have also done margins like this, and then just have it printed like that, and it will fit perfectly fine. Okay, so go ahead and hit print on your printer. My printer is offline, so I don't need to print this anyway. So the next thing that you're supposed to do is make sure that you've entered your name, center number, and candidate number on your sheet showing the formula. This we did last time. Now, step 21, enter data to build a single skin wall with the cell code B. Okay, so let's create a profile like this one. So what I'm just going to do is to drag this just so that you could have some values. Okay, so code where we let me just zoom out a bit. Okay, so soil code, it's supposed to be B, so here select B, and then brick code is supposed to be ARA, so make ARA there, and then length of the wall is supposed to be 400 centimeters, but remember 400 centimeters converted to meters, it's 4 meters, and then height of the wall is 60 centimeters, so converted to meters it's going to be 0.6. Okay, so these guys, you need to be very careful here. Don't just punching and putting values there, you need to, that's where the catch is, okay? So that is done. And then you notice now what's going to happen. Now, we're told that this is supposed to be for a single skin. So for a single skin, you make sure that this is S and not D, okay? And then change back now to the data, not showing the formulas, change back to the data, select the entire table, adjust it, double click there, and zoom in a little bit so that the information is kind of visible. And this is what we have, okay? So what I'm going to do is to, okay, so that is done. Go back here. Print the cells only showing only cells A1. Print the cells only showing A1 to C26 of the spreadsheet, showing the values. So let's go ahead and do just that. So that's A1 to C26. So select. In fact, the print area is still remaining the same, so I don't need to change. I don't need to change this. I just need to go to File, to Page Layout, rather File, then Print, and it will remain the same. But I don't know if we're told that it should be in Portrait, so just go ahead and verify if it's supposed to be in Portrait. Make sure that the printout fits on a single page and the contents are fully visible. So it's not supposed to be in Portrait, so just go ahead and print it as it is. So like this is fine, it's one page and it's fine, so go ahead and print it as it is. Okay, so that is fine. Make sure that you enter your name, center number, candidate number on your paper, and that goes with your 56 marks. Wow. So guys, this paper has been very, very mathematical paper. I encourage you guys not to dislike mathematics. I always tell my students that you cannot love ICT or computer science and hate mathematics or English. I mean, these are subjects that you just have to love. I mean, by force, by fire, by thunder. You just have to love these subjects. If your ICT poll is going to improve. And I always tell them that if you want to see, if you're struggling in computer science or you're struggling in ICT, I bet your English and your mathematics results, you are also struggling. So that's the thing, guys. Right, so let's go ahead and now, I think I'm going to end here. And in the next video, when I see you, we'll wind up shortly with the web authoring section. It's a very short section. And so thank you so much, guys. And don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, to comment, and I'll see you in the next video shortly.